Following total atomic annihilation, the rebuilding of this great nation of ours may fall to you. That's why we here at Vault Boys WV will take you on an oral tour of the beautiful state of West Virginia. There's no other place to be better prepared for the impending fallout. Now we go live to our team of experts.
Hello and welcome to yet another week with Vault Boys WV, a mutated podcast crossbreeding our shared history in Appalachia with the post-apocalyptic state in Fallout 76. I am your country road scholar, Dave Chaffins, and joining me is my favorite, son of a Mothman, Austin O'Connor. How you doing?
Crossbreeding.
Crossbreeding?
I like how you just went with it, though.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought you were going to restart. And I was like, no, I respect you for not restarting that. Typically, we go through like 3.
That's fine. Here's the thing.
I think we're being transparent with our audience.
Today, I'm telling you, this is a breaking news. I didn't read that. This is all from memory, and I looked directly at you the whole time.
You did. That was why I was like, wow, we're going with it.
Well, we started with such a long spiel. But the thing is that I always forget is there's a recording that plays before this that is a long spiel. Yeah. It's just in editing, I don't listen to it. Because
right. You just like, here, I'm
just like, this is already, I did this a long time ago. I suppose I need to update that.
But yeah, you did your thing. Look at that. It only took what? I mean, when did we start? Last July?
Last July, so what is it, April now?
Yeah.
Happy April, man.
Took that long, but you got it down. Now it's like, now I need to start doing it just to see how long it takes me to memorize it.
That's true. This is the first time that I've come in here without like a written situation.
Was it liberating? Like, do you feel empowered? Like you just can take on the world right now?
I could.
Yeah.
I can, I feel like David. I'm like, oh, there you go. David and Goliath. I feel like David, I'm going to get like my slingshot and I'm going to knock down some podcast subjects that are big old. Let's talk about tax reform.
Tax reform, yeah. Yeah, huh? Well,
how's your week going, man?
My week is going well.
Yeah? Where you been? I haven't seen you. Again, it's like
it's like in 2-week increments lately.
Yeah. Let me tell you, if I was your girlfriend, here's the thing. If I was your girlfriend, I would just have to. No, I'm not your girlfriend. I would just have to. I would have to accept that it's like I would be dating the what is it, the time traveler, like the time traveler's wife. Like you just come and go in my life.
Yeah.
It's like one minute you're here.
I won't lie though. It's like I think I'm just bored. That's why I go so many places. I need to settle down. I need to find me a nice girl, settle down, live a nice.
I think your grandmother would be a little upset. Speaking of your grandmother, I was going through I had pictures on my computer that I was back to it. Spotify, too expensive. Has been too expensive. We've been on the free situation for a while.
Yeah.
What's the point? It doesn't really, it's not helpful. The playlists aren't helpful. We don't find that. We listen to more Pandora than we do Spotify. Okay. And with Pandora, you can get ad block on your computer, so you don't have to listen even to the ads.
So you don't do Spotify at all anymore?
I have Spotify, but I don't listen to it that much. Okay. So what we've decided is we're just going to put all of our music onto Google Play. Uh-huh. And I was like, I think I have all of my music from back in the day. And I'm talking about going on LimeWire.
Yeah.
And getting yourself.
Old.
Yeah.
Listen, I wish I could get on my old computers are cooked probably because I used LimeWire so much for music. Yeah. I had my computer that I did all that was cooked, obviously, but I managed to transfer all those files, and I have them all, and I found them this weekend on the computer, and I booted up the old PC. I normally use a Mac. We record this on a Mac. I am pro MacBook. You're looking at the files, and it's like fueled _ by _ ramen _ panic at the disco.
Yeah.
MP.mp3.
But it's all done in an iTunes media library. So I can just put that on my hard drive and put that on my Mac. And then I've got everything. So I've been working on that. But I found, speaking of your grandmother, found pictures from my old phone. And it's like, now I have 1,300 pictures dating all the way. This is how old am I? What am I?
26?
Okay. This is like 8 years worth of pictures. So
why'd you ask me how old you are, and I'm the one that knew this? I'm 25. You're older than me, though, by a little bit.
Oh, man.
Have you turned 26? You turned 26 a couple months ago.
Yeah. Well, in February, yeah. It feels like it's been a week.
I know more about you than you know of yourself right now.
Yeah. Well, that's because of the dynamic. See, we're on each other's brainwaves. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, found pictures on the computer. And it's like everything that I ever recorded on my phone ever. Mm-hmm. So I'm like looking at like pictures of like Snapchats that I've saved from like college and stuff. And like, there's a guy dressed in like full, he's put an aluminum sheet around himself in front of the fraternity house. And he's got a tinfoil hat on and he's holding a Natty Light 40.
That is a sight to see.
Oh, no. It wasn't a Natty Light 40. It was a sword. A Natty Light like scepter. Like it was like a bunch of Natty Lights.
And they had taped
them together.
Classic. I recently turned on my iCloud on my Mac and my iPhone. And my MacBook I've had since 2013. Mm-hmm. And so any picture I had from then on is on there, which equates to almost 50,000 pictures, screenshots, photos I've taken.
I'm sure that you have a lot
of stuff. And the other day I was going back through it on my phone because I have it just on the cloud.
All saved, yeah.
And I was just like the memories it brought back of just being like, man, was 2013 really that long ago? Like, I remember like taking these photos or these screenshots or having these conversations.
Stuff,
So yeah, I understand it. It's you can fall down a rabbit hole there.
Yeah. So what we're doing is we have them all in our Google Photos, and we have a shared account. You can upload as many photos as you want on Google Photos. They're just all lower quality, which we don't really care about,
right?
Because computers back in that time weren't of the highest particular caliber. So we're putting them on there, but I'm going back and I'm looking through like video files and stuff, and then I see your grandmother's face.
Oh God!
And I'm like, what is this? And it was a message that she recorded in a video format for my mother for her 60th birthday.
Oh, jeez.
So I was like, well, I want to watch this. I want to watch this. And she recounted a story in which she asked if she could sing a solo because my mother's the choir director at the church.
Yes.
And your grandmother's in the choir, and she wanted to sing the solo.
Oh boy.
And she asked my mother. She was like, Marty, where can you where's the solo at? Where do I sing the solo? And my mother said it's on page 34, and she said she looked in the book, and there was no page 34.
Yeah. I love my grandmother, but I don't think I would let her sing the solo.
Well, I can't say that I've actually heard her sing, and I've actually, in high school, sang in that choir as well. I don't think I've actually listened to your grandmother sing. She didn't take the solo, so I don't know what her solo career looks like.
Speaking of Dixie, I have a fun story. I visited her last weekend.
Yes.
And which I ended up getting sick visiting her, which that sucked. But in the first day of visiting her, she took me out to dinner. And we went down to Shogun, the hibachi place in Bluefield, Virginia. And
so remind me.
Yes.
And this is the insider baseball for Bluefield, Virginia.
Yes.
Shogun is, in my opinion, fairly new.
It's pretty new.
But it's a bunch of different things combined on the sign, if I remember. It's like Thai food, Japanese food, Chinese food. It's
a myriad of select. It's a crazy selection, but it's really good. I liked it.
Okay.
But so we're finishing eating, and she never finishes all of her food. It's always taking a box, getting leftovers. And I am a decently big germaphobe. Like, I don't, like to eat after people typically. Sometimes I will, but I normally
You're a hypochondriac.
Pretty particular.
Yeah.
And she was like, will you eat this? And I was like, yeah, probably. I probably will. So she asks for a box, and the lady brings it to her. And she was like, well, here, use your fork to scoop it in there. I was like, well, Nana, you already, have been eating it with your fork. It's not going to make a difference. Yeah. And she looks at this waitress and loudly says, would you believe that? I mean, he is such a homophobe. And I shot up in my seat and I said, Nana, And everyone starts looking at me around us. And I was like, Nana, that's not the word you're looking for. I was like, no, I'm not. And the waitress is like, and I was like, germaphobe. The word she was looking for was germaphobe. I assure you, I am not a homophobe. And then Nana, like, she was like, oh, I mean, he might be a homophobe. I'm not really sure. And I was like, Nana, stop talking. Like, you think you're funny, but you're making this so much worse. I was mortified. I was absolutely mortified. And she just sat there and laughed. She was like, the waitress knew what I meant. I was like, no, she didn't. I mean, like, maybe. But, I mean, if I hear somebody say that, I'm probably going to take it for what it is.
Oh, my goodness.
I was like, I'm never going out to eat with you again. That's just like, Dixie is full of, throughout my life, there are quotes from her that just... everyone will always remember. Like, my family still talks about them. Like, at Christmas, we'll all bring up something that she said to one of us. Each of us has our own set of stories of Dixie and what she said. I consider
her a secondary character in this podcast. Like, she is received. We talk about her so much. She's a secondary character.
She is something else. She is there's that. My favorite is when I accidentally broke her toe when I was a kid because I dropped a Super Nintendo on it. And she jumped up and down and like fell on the couch and was screaming, "God bless a milk cow." That was like her. She didn't want to cuss in front of me. So she goes, "God bless a milk cow," and like rolling around on the floor and on the couch and like grabbing her toe. So she doesn't let me live that down, but I also don't let her live that side of it down. So that's just, that is Dixie. That is Nana Dixie.
Well, she is delightful.
She is an American treasure. That is what we tell her. She is an American treasure. So
Shout out.
So shout out to Dixie. She would probably kill me if she knew, which I'm sure she will. Your mom will probably tell her that I told the story of the Shogun leftover food. But
my mother texted me. It was sometime last week, and she said, just like out of the blue, she was like, "That sounds real yummy. Mead. That sounds good." And I was like.
Like, oh, you made it to that point in the.
Oh, okay, yeah. You've been listening. So.
Well, Nana told me. She said, I talked to David's mom. She was listening to your all's podcast, and she said something about you guys talking about drinking, and I was like, well, not. I was like, yeah, but not like we weren't just talking about drinking. She was like, well, she told me. Well, my son doesn't drink. And I told her, well, my grandson doesn't either. And we went about our day. And I was like, okay. All right. Well, I guess I don't know. I guess they didn't like our stories about our drinking days. I don't know.
Well, it's not exactly the most exciting.
Yeah. My mom did tell me that she listened and liked your airplane story.
Oh, yeah. People have sent me fan mail. I'm gonna call it that. It's not fan. It's just like, hey man, that airplane story, man.
Yeah,
people have commented.
As I told you, I would not be on another airplane probably for the rest of my life after seeing that. It's like something out of a movie. Yeah, Eesh, I don't even want to think about it.
I'm like Samuel Jackson, and I was just tired of these snakes.
Yeah,
you know, Jeff Hill. Well, with that, we will move into our next segment. Okay, Austin. So here's the thing: we have missed a lot of news with Fallout 76.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to recount some of the stuff that's been happening.
Yes.
So last time I talked to you, Fastnacht was going on.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the first day. It was like a day after, maybe. Done a little bit of that. That turned out to be huge success. Great success.
Huge success.
Great success. And got a lot of people out. Got a lot of people getting the masks.
Yeah.
Got a lot of people getting some decor. There was like a bunch of decoration plans. My buddy was like, "Do you want any of these?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. I'll take like all these decoration, like streamers and Switzerland flags and big old banners for Helvetia and all kinds of different stuff." But there was a scarcity though of like half of the masks were like extremely rare chance to drop. So like somebody that did the event like 50 times never got like 4 out of the 8 masks to drop. And I'm not sure about an amount. Like he never got any of the particularly rare masks that were there. So they're just a little interesting tidbit, and I wonder in the future, like if they do it again next year. Like obviously with online games and stuff, they do yearly events and stuff. Like I think Gestures Festival is going on right now in Elder Scrolls Online, and that's always been something that they've done most years. But with this, it's like, okay, I wonder when people are going to get those masks, and if next year they're going to get those masks. It's like, how's the market going to react? Because now people are trying to sell these like super fancy masks for like a bunch of money. I don't even actually think I've seen any sold, but I would imagine that it would go for more, and it's impossible for your character to hold more than 25,000 caps. So I would imagine it would go for somewhere more than that.
Yeah.
They would have to increase the maximum because at this point, it's like...
Yeah, I mean, it just amazes me like how that, is happening in a video game. People are hoarding masks and selling them like it's like... Did you see, speaking of like the Avengers Endgame, people are selling the tickets online for like $5,000 right now for opening night? I'm like, why would you spend that much? Just go the next day. Go the next. It's sold out. I'll go the next day.
Hey, are we going together? Are we still doing that?
I would like to.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Let's do it. Selena doesn't want to see it.
I'm down.
Let's go do it. I mean, I don't know if I want to go like on the Thursday.
I don't want to go the first night because it's going to be too crazy.
Because it's going to be too crazy. But like on the weekend, though,
I would like to do that. And then, I mean, April's a good month, man. We get Game of Thrones and Avengers, dude, within like a week and a half of each other.
Yeah, you get a lot of good stuff.
But what I was getting at was just though, in terms of just like trying to check up the prices, just because it's like an exclusive.
Yeah,
it's funny that people are doing that within a video game world.
But it was a fun event. I think that it got people out and talking about something. I think it was really the first thing to talk about for Fallout 76 that generally was received like across the board positively.
And you got people talking to each other too.
Right. And it created an event that even low-level players could participate in. So people that bought the game could immediately go and, like, because Helvetia's not that far from the vault. You can just walk right over there. But got people involved so that there was, like, every time there was, like, 10 or 15 players that were doing the event at a time rather than, like, the most you'd get is probably for like Scorch Beast Queen, but that's like at the very end of the game. And you've got to be like, you got to have the ammo, you've got to have the stuff, and that's when you get the mass amount of people.
Right.
And then week after that, so Fastnacht lasts 1 week. Love Fastnacht. Fastnacht forever. If you want to learn more about Fastnacht, we talked to Greg, who runs that VB Bobblehead account. He went to Fastnacht this year, the real Fastnacht. Talked a little bit about him. Go back and listen to that episode. It's a good one. Talk about a lot about what that event is and what's going on with that. But then last week, survival mode came out, which I thought it was fun. I think the nomenclature is funny because it's like we weren't in survival mode before.
Yeah, we sort of interesting.
We were in adventure mode.
Yeah. Well, it felt like survival.
It felt like survival.
It felt a lot like I was trying to survive.
It felt like I needed to get food and water and shelter.
Yeah. It's like I feel like there should be an option for those of us who don't always want to have to eat and drink. Make adventure mode. Like,
I think they should just make a separate, like, if they want to, like, I mean, obviously, I think eventually. Well, I don't even know I don't know what they're gonna do with their modifications. What they're doing, I have no clue. I like this roadmap.
It is good. I think it's good that they're planning. So far ahead, and they have everything mapped out. That's definitely helps and makes us at least excited about something every month. So,
but I got a chance to play survival mode. Have you played?
No,
the survival mode. Well, survival mode. I came in with about 20 stim packs. Which is pretty low. I generally have, I mean, I'm not, this is a weird flex, but I generally have about 120.
Yeah.
On my character time.
Humble brag.
But for this mode, I went in there, I was like, okay, I started off, and my buddy Cody, who I play with frequently, was like, let's play together. And so at first, I didn't play with him. And I was looking, and how the wanted boards are made is they're done by longest player alive. So there was one of them that was near the vault that was like level 8 or something, and I was a level 140.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm gonna go kill this level 8 player and just see how that goes. And then I spent like maybe 10 minutes just running train on some fools walking around the forest. And then I was like, okay, well, let me go after this number 1 spot. Then he's like a level 100 something.
You felt like you were.
I felt like I was ready. I traveled to White Springs, the train station, because you can only travel by train station this mode. And I immediately spawned and was killed. And I was like, okay, let's try that again. Maybe it was just a glitch. Reload, spawn at the train station, immediately killed.
Like you didn't even know what killed you?
No.
Like it was just like boom, dead?
Boom, dead. I was like, okay, I'm going to try this out. And so like I loaded in and killed again. And on the 4th time, I like stood there. I was like, I'm going to like wait here for a little bit, just standing. And see if anything like and like really pay attention to where this shot is coming from, because I was getting shot by something.
Yeah.
I waited and there was nothing. And then I like walked away. And then I saw another person spawn in. I was like, oh, let me watch this. And this guy spawned in. It got shot, and I looked, and people were staying on the roof of the train station and just killing anybody who spawned.
Oh, I was gonna say it had to be like right up above.
So they were just camping on the train station. I was like, well, that's stupid. And so I think I ended up. I killed. There was 2 of them. I killed one of them. The other one got me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well, I'll go get the number 2 slot. The number 2 slot was at the power plant. And so I went over to my campus near the power plant. So I just went over there and went to the power plant and saw the guy. And I was like, oh, let me go kill him. Tried to kill him. It was during an event. When events are active, there's no PvP. Everybody works together. And that event lasts for an hour. So I was like, well, that's good.
You're like, okay, well, let's go to number 3.
Yes, but then once I got back to my camp, I had a bunch of missile turrets and walls, and so people would spawn at the train station because the train station is right over there, see my camp, and be like, oh, let me come check the camp out. And I think maybe there was like 2 kids or something that were on there that walked near my camp, and I was just over there crafting stuff, and I could hear the missile turrets going up. And over the mic, I hear, whoa, chill out, man, chill out. I'm just walking here, man. I was like, oh, goodness, here they come. And then they like kept on, like, I'm just like making stuff, and they were like, we're going to get revenge on this turret. It's like, they're so high up, and they're behind walls, they just...
Anytime I hear like little kids on the map, I instantly go back to like Modern Warfare 2, like chat lobbies, like before we would start a match. And like the little kids always said the absolute, just like harshest things. Like they were just going on. And I saw a meme today and it was like kids nowadays wouldn't be able to survive in these Modern Warfare 2 chat lobbies. Like the things that were said would take your soul. It was like... People were ruthless in those things. So when I hear that on Fallout, I'm like, man, it's like, but they're always so innocent now. I'm like,
they're innocent. The weirdest conversation I ever had with a kid. I've dealt with the 2 kids that were at the camp coming on survival mode. I ended up being like, okay, I'm done with this. This is not review of survival mode. Could use some work.
Yeah,
not necessarily fun for me. Went back to adventure mode, having a bunch of fun there, enjoying that, playing with the people. Anywho. Survival mode, or what were we talking about? We're talking about the kids, interacting with kids. That's right. We no survival mode. I was helping my friend build this camp, and this kid comes up, and he's like, "You want to see my cool power armor?" I'm like,
"Sure, buddy."
And I have like all the power armors. I'm like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "Look at this." He gets in. He's like, "Isn't this cool?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool." He's like, "Watch this," and he walks up to the top of this guy's camp. Gets on like the highest point and then jumps off the top and then lands on like just like a wood floor like that he built. He's like, "Did you see that?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Did you know that if this were real life, that floor would be broken?" I was like, yeah, man. Yeah. He's like, all right, I'm going to go kill some stuff. I'll see you guys later.
You're like, see, bud. Yeah, nice. Thanks for that talk.
I got a reality check.
Yeah. I mean, he had to educate you, man.
I mean, he had to tell me. He was like, listen, man.
To let you know.
You want to see this? You want to hold my beer.
What was the Mad TV, the steward? Look what I can do.
Yeah.
He like jumps. Like, that's that was that kid.
Yeah.
Look what I can do. Just jumps off the roof.
Yeah. So tried those 2 updates. I'm still messing around with survival mode. Maybe I'll come back to it. I'm not sure. I'm taking a break for a while. Killing other people in games, I always think that maybe I enjoy that because people enjoy that, but I never enjoy that. I play Splatoon, and I don't like killing the kids in Splatoon. I just like painting the floor. It's like a Bob Ross simulator where everything's one color. Like Fortnite, like you see me play Fortnite. I don't kill anybody. I don't get a kill in. I just sneak around everywhere. So I'm like,
now is that because you don't want to kill them, or because you don't know how to kill them?
I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, that's the grand mystery.
Okay, that's fair. So that's an honest answer.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But
yes,
I've been into some stuff related to survival mode,
right?
In Fallout. Particularly trading.
I was gonna say. I feel like that's more your style. That's what's something you were very.
So there's a subreddit called Market 76 that you get on there. You essentially put what like platform you're on, Xbox, PS4, PC, whatever, and then post what you have and then start selling it. And so I noticed it when it first happened. I was like, okay, I'll come back to it. And then my buddies started getting into it. I was like, well, I've got kind of a stock of stuff and I'll start selling stuff. And I am like selling stuff, man.
You're just a businessman.
Before I got home at 4:45.
Yeah.
You got here at 5 o'clock. In that time.
I got here at 4:55.
In that time,
4:55, everybody. Don't let them lie.
Whatever. In that time, I made 8,000 caps, but then I also bought 6,000 caps worth of stuff. Like I am a wheeling.
I only think I've had like 2,000 caps for like the last month.
I'm a wheeling and dealing man, and it's crazy because now there's this build.
Yes,
and I talked about it. I was on That Fallout Show, which is fantastic Fallout-based podcast from some of the longest-running Fallout podcasters. It's their new show. You should go check it out. I'm on that episode. We do a Jeopardy game. It's a lot of fun. It's 3 hours of excitement. Go check it out. But I talked about bloodied builds. So have you heard anything about the bloodied builds?
Yes.
You're familiar.
Yes.
So explain to me the bloodied builds.
The bloodied build, at least the one that my friend was doing, was that his health was the most minuscule he could possibly make it. His rads were like out of this world, but it made his weapons were like insanely powerful. I mean, like and it was mostly melee weapons, I guess, but like his melee, it was out of this world. Like Rob would just run out of nowhere and just kill everything around us. He would be like, all right, took care of it. And I guess he was a high enough level that the damage dealt, for the most part, to him wasn't that extreme. So.
Right, because generally you can have a high damage resistance even with low health.
Yeah.
So bloodied builds are things. So I had a bunch of bloodied weapons, and I just started selling them. And it was like the first one I had sold one of my main guns, the one that I like that most, that original explosive one. I sold that for like 2,000 caps. I was like, okay. And then I went and saw this like 2-star plasma bloodied whatever for 3,000 caps. And I was like, how the heck this happened? So I just started selling bloodied stuff, and people bought that up.
Hey.
Like it was like Christmas time in New York. Like it was a crazy thing.
It's a very obscure
Christmas time in New York.
Obscure like reference. Like
I went to New York at Christmas time. People were buying all kinds of stuff.
I respect it.
Ever been in the Macy's at Christmas time in New York?
I respect it.
Chevy Chase has. He did that in that one movie with the lampooning and the Christmas tree and
oh boy.
You know. Anywho,
moving on.
I'm
not even going to comment on that.
Moving on. Been wheeling and dealing.
Wheeling, dealing, bona fide.
And I've been buying some stuff.
Yeah.
And I decided I made this decision. I've been wheeling and dealing. This is all connected because people are trying to do these bloodied builds. Also, by the way, how do you counteract a bloody build if somebody's trying to fight you in the game? get a gamma gun. Gamma guns do radiation damage, and they already have a ton of rats, and they probably don't have any radiation resistance. Shoot them 3 times with the gamma gun, and they're dead. Every single bloody build. Every single one dead. Also, they're doing like sneaky sniper stuff where they're using bats, cryogenic grenades. Throw a cryogenic grenade. If they get hit by it, their AP is automatically drained to 0. They can't use bats.
You're just a smart fella, aren't you?
I'm trying to be like,
trying to educate the masses right now.
I'm just trying to help people.
Trying to do good.
I'm trying to all these things are like hidden away on these, like, you gotta like go in the comments on this Reddit or this Discord or this hootenanny.
Yeah.
You gotta go in there, you gotta find out this stuff. Easy stuff though. Get a gamma gun, keep some cryogenic grenades if you want to get in a survival mode. You won't need them. I mean, I've tried gamma gun on everything in the current game, and everything is like immune. Ghouls immune, super mutants immune, scorched that'll hurt them. Robots a little bit. Yeah, everything is mutated, so therefore
bloody builds different story.
Bloody builds are killing everything, but very easily killed. And then it's like, I don't know, not my scene. What my scene is with all this wheeling and dealing, with all this different stuff. I have decided that I'm tired of bullets. I'm just tired. I can play. It's like there are so many games with bullets. It's like, what is an experience that I can do in Fallout? I was like, okay, well, melee. Like, melee's easy to do. But then it's like, where's the strategy? Like, it's just run at something and hit it. Yeah. If you're getting hurt, run away, heal, run back, start hitting it again.
I feel personally attacked that you're coming after my build right
now. I'm saying that I'm doing something that I want to start a movement. So I'm pretty sure. I may not be the first person to think about this, but I'm definitely the first person in this format. Right. Which I don't know what this format is.
The first person in this room at least.
Is I have made essentially a mage build. Well, I'm working towards making a mage build. So like in a lot of MMOs, you have your tanks. Those are generally high armored, like up close and personal. They're tanking a lot of the damage. You've got your DPS, which are like archers or whatever. They're like sneaking around, getting critical shots, getting like that high stuff. And so you've got both of those, obviously. You've got your bats players, you've got your bloody players, your melee players, whatever. Yeah. But then you have healers, and you have like casters and such. And so I have generated a build by this like weird way where I am what I would call a scientist. Okay. I now use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different guns all at once. And it's all based on the elemental properties of which they have. I have a Gatling laser that I use. I have a Gatling plasma that I use. I have a pyrolator, or a flamer, whatever you call it. I have a cryolator, a Tesla gun, and a gamma gun. Okay. And everything in the Wasteland has weaknesses to these things. And so essentially what I've done is I've taken all the spells from like Skyrim. Oh my gosh. And put them into this category.
And they all what's going to be good against what?
If there's a perk called awareness, and that gives you some information, like most everything is weak to cryolators. Unless you're in the mire, because all of those are water-based. And so there's like you're essentially playing Pokemon.
I was going to say, it's like, if it sounds like Pokemon, you're having to go like based off of type.
Yes. And so I'm using all of these different weapons kind of in tandem. I have weight reduction perks in a bunch on my armor. And then I have for all like energy ammo, I have weight reduction. They all use energy ammo. They don't use bullets. They only use cores, fusion cells, like cells of some sort. There are no bullets in my build. Yeah. But then the thing that I'm working on is my charisma tree, to which I have team medic, which any stim pack that I take heals everybody else in my party. And I'm trying to get, I have it at rank 2 and I want it at rank 3, which is like equal amounts. And then there's one perk that makes everything done by your flamer, like your flamethrower, it converts that into healing flames that will just heal people.
You have just gone way too deep into this. I mean, I'm impressed. Like, I'm not gonna
Yes.
say I'm not impressed, but oh boy.
So it has made it a game where it's like I'm having to relearn all the enemies. It's not exactly the most powerful build. It's not exactly like I'm not one-shotting things. But I'm definitely having way more fun playing the game like that.
Listen.
And I think when it comes time for dungeons and raids where you're in parties, you're trying to do stuff, you're trying to coordinate, they're going to be glad that they have the guy that has all the elemental guns that can like hit those weird weak spots and heal everybody in a clutch situation. Because everybody's going to be walking around in power armor and big sledgehammers. And I'm going to be in the back with the guy like shooting electricity out that's arcing between all the different people.
Well, hey, I mean... That's a very useful way to be. You are a unicorn. No one else is like you. You're one of a kind.
Well, I encourage people to try out the mage build. So just do only you. I am never using another bullet. Once I get I'm going to get my final gun tonight. It's like a what is it? It's a flamer. I'm getting a new flavor.
Okay.
After that, no more melee weapons. No more ballistic weapons.
Well, I'm proud of you for giving them up. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
You admitted that you had a problem.
I had a problem.
And you gave it up.
And I gave it up.
I'm proud of you.
So this leads me to my final point of play. Made a new camp. As I do.
So the squat and gob's done? Or?
You had the squat and gobble. Squat and gobble is done.
Yeah, that was...
But we're elevated now.
Okay.
I'm not going to give you too many details.
Okay, you don't have to.
Because I'm saving it for something special that I'm doing.
Right.
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, that's fine.
But the name of the new camp is called Gobbletech.
Okay. I mean, both of your other businesses have failed, so I have no...
Well, you just wait. Gobbletech, also a play, it's like, okay, squat and gobble, right? But what college should I come from?
Again...
Virginia Tech, right?
We have a history of failed businesses.
Who's the mascot? It's the Hokies. What do the Hokies say?
Gobble, gobble.
Bitches. That's what they say.
Your shirt says that.
I do have a shirt, and I wore that to the Virginia Tech Marshall game, and I sat in the student section near you, and I had a beer can thrown at me.
Yes.
So
as you should have.
So that's what I have been up to. And what do you think? That's just a load of information there.
You just hit me with a lot that I still have to process, but I'm impressed. I think it sounds like a good plan. When you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
It's fun,
and you've definitely planned.
I think it's like instead of just shooting things, now it's like I've got to think about it. I've got to, and now it's like I'm more prepared to help people.
Well, you don't like shooting things anyway.
That's true.
So it's like
that's true. That's the thing. That's what it takes me back to. It's like Splatoon.
Yeah.
It's like
nice little callback there.
Nice little callback, yeah. But except now I just shoot energy at things. Here's some energy.
You still
man.
kill it. It's just you're just not shooting.
Kill it. It's just
you're just going a different route to do it.
Right,
More humane.
I'm not. We don't use bullets. I'm above that.
You're not a monster.
I'm on the moral high ground
you're
right
not a
now.
monster.
I'll kill you with electricity, man. If I could shoot electricity from my fingertips, I'd be like pew pew pew. But
you're humane. You're humane about it in the game.
Right. And then would people question me if I started like hurling lightning from my finger? Would they be like, is what he's doing illegal? No. They would be like, what he's doing is perfectly legal. I don't understand it. But I don't
know if that would be the reaction to be completely honest.
Have you watched Avengers? Thor could just like fly in.
That's
New
Thor,
York.
dude. Well,
if I'm shooting lightning out of my fingertips, Well, that's like Shazam. They got that whole new movie. And they're like, oh, it's just Shazam. Here he comes.
No,
he was in that movie Chuck.
I don't think I still don't think that would be like the general reaction to you being able to shoot lightning. That's that we could go a whole episode talking about that though.
But I'm going through that new way to play, new camp, and then I'm trying to make my character look as much like if you're familiar, have you ever played Portal?
Yes. The
Cave Johnson, played by J.K. Simmons. Trying to go for the Cave Johnson look.
Anything that J.K. Simmons ever plays is
fantastic.
It's just amazing.
It's like they'll never be able to have a J. Jonah Jameson until he's dead. And
dude, every time if I think J. Jonah Jameson, I see J.K. Simmons. I cannot see another person.
He's fantastic.
Man,
he's a national treasure.
Yes, it's amazing. But
Dixie O'Connor, J.K. Simmons.
Those are the two. Protect them at all costs.
At all costs.
At all costs. But listen, I'm very excited for our grand subject today.
Oh yeah.
And it's something that before Fallout, I had never really, I guess, I'm sure I had heard of it, but I never really knew much about it. Mm-hmm. But I really fell down a rabbit hole.
I'm excited to hear.
I think we both have. Like, I think that we both fell down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's why I didn't come in with notes today, because it's just like, it's just all really fresh.
Yeah, it's just very, But do you want to introduce what we are going to talk about?
Oh, you're talking about like maybe moving into the next segment. All right, Austin. If you didn't know, this week we're going to be talking about something that hits literally close to home.
Yes.
Like close to here.
Yeah.
Like at this location.
Something that I was not aware of, and now I'm a little paranoid.
I knew about it. Mm-hmm. I went at, first of all, let me start this off. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have known about this unless I did this podcast. Mm-hmm. We had a listener email back in like October.
I was going to say it was a while back.
It was back in October. It was before Fallout 76 even came out. Mm-hmm. That was like, hey, I wonder if they're going to do more with cryptids in this game. Mm-hmm. We've seen Mothman. We've seen Flatwoods Monster. We've seen the Snallygaster. We've seen Grafton Monster. I wonder if they're going to have some of like the more or lesser known ones in West Virginia. And I was like, well, yeah, I guess they could. And he was like this monster called the Sheepsquatch. And if you go back and you listen to that episode, and I think it's the one right after we played the beta. Mm-hmm. We had just finished the beta. So it was probably, I think I'd labeled that like the first fires from Charleston.
Yeah, it was like the beginning of November, I guess, like first week.
Yeah. I think no, it was the end of October, because October 27th, I think, was when we started.
Oh, yeah, it was like right before Halloween. Yeah.
Okay. So he came up with the idea that maybe, I mean, he didn't come up with the idea, but he's the one that first mentioned it to us.
Yeah,
maybe they'd have
maybe
Sheepsquatch.
They would do Sheepsquatch, and which so that's such a great name.
I briefly looked into it, and I had told you about that, and I remember you talking about like your grandmother. Shout out to your grandmother. I went back and listened to this week. You talked about your grandmother telling you stories as a kid about the stuff that was out there that was like roaming around, and that made you think of it.
Yes. Bloody Bones.
Bloody Bones.
Bloody Bones was the name of the tale. Scars me. I'm still traumatized to this day about Bloody Bones. But Sheepsquatch, what I didn't realize even at the time when we heard about it was that it was more central to like this area of the state.
Yes.
I was not aware of that. Going all the way down close to Bluefield and McDowell County and Boone County and like even Kanawha County. And I mean, it's slightly terrifying.
It's the only thing that is relative from like all of South, like all of southern West Virginia has seen some sort of sighting. Yeah. Even though then there's multiple, I've looked at multiple people talking about them seeing it, multiple recorded stuff, even some that are recorded that are fake, that are fake, and some of them that are real.
Yes.
I don't know what you call real and fake in this situation.
It goes back to the situation we've talked about with something is being seen in numerous places, and all of the reports sound the same.
Right.
So, like, something is going on.
Something is happening.
And they're like, there's like white fur. You don't see a lot of that here. Like, I don't know. It's just that and the horns, and it sounds like a terrifying creature.
So how did you what happened with this rabbit hole? Tell me about this rabbit hole.
I was just, looking up Sheepsquatch. Well, like, one of my friends I asked, she's big on West Virginia folklore history and everything, and I asked her, and she has like a little pin of the Sheepsquatch, like on one of her bags or something like that she had bought, and it was a Sheepsquatch. She was like, yes, I've heard of this, blah, blah, blah. And I was looking up more of it and read stories, one of which there was a man that like discovered it, and it was this grand tale of seeing it and smelling like the sulfur smell off of it. But then he like straight up admitted that he had like eaten shrooms.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, dude. So you were just like tripping in your basement and thought you were like out in the woods.
Yes. That is one of the accounts.
So that one's pretty much straight off, to me, discredited. I'm not even going to listen to that one.
It's discredited. And then what I thought, so like the Sheepsquatch itself is essentially Sasquatch, with a ram's head. That's
Yes.
what, like, if you haven't looked at a picture of it, imagine what Bigfoot looks like.
Yes.
Put a ram's head on it.
But my favorite detail is that it has like raccoon paws.
Raccoon paws,
That's my favorite
It has
detail.
raccoon paws, and it has hooves.
Yes.
It uses hooves, and then it's white. That's the thing.
Yes.
It is classified as a white creature. So there's multiple white creatures all over the world. Sheepsquatch is one of them.
Well, they call it the white thing.
Yes.
Not to be confused with me when I take my shirt off. I am known as the white thing because of how pale I am. I glow.
I used to have. You're a glowing one.
I am I am. I've been told that I'm transparent or that I glow. Both of which really hurt my self-conscious. My self-esteem.
like-
I mean, quite a lot.
So
I'm
if you were
very
doing
pale.
like a Christmas in July party,
Yes.
where you had your shirt off,
Yeah.
but you had reindeer antlers on,
Yes,
would you be confused with a sheepsquatch?
dude. I like look at my arm. Mm-hmm. I've been outside a lot lately.
Okay.
And I'm still like see-through. Like it's very pale. So that's what I'm saying. Sheepsquatch and I have a lot in common.
You feel you vibe.
Yes.
See, what is it the young people say? Is that sheepsquatch is a mood?
It's a whole ass mood, dude.
It's a mood.
Big mood.
Big mood.
Big mood. That's what they say.
A big mood.
Big mood. This is a mood. Yeah. Mood. Mood AF.
One of my favorite things on Twitter, there's you've probably heard of it, and they did a documentary on it this week. Was Shirley Curry is this elderly lady who plays Skyrim in Let's Plays, and so she's gone viral a few times.
Oh, yeah, I think I have heard of that.
She's like from outside of Roanoke. She's like from Southwest Virginia, but she plays Skyrim and kind of does role playing with it, and like makes up characters and stories and just plays the game her way. She tried to play Elder Scrolls Online, and she has a Twitter. And after her first episode, she just tweeted the word "no," and somebody tweeted back and said, "This is a mood."
Yeah.
like, and she didn't know, and she was like, "I'm not in a mood. I just don't like the game."
Yeah.
And they're like,
If you
"No,
just
it's
see-
it means relatable."
Yeah,
it
it's
means
like
relatable.
it's somehow just taken over saying mood.
Right.
So, like I said, mood AF, bro. Like me and Sheepsquatch, like we're seriously vibing. You know what I'm
Vibing.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
like you know, like it's the douchiest thing I've ever said. Like that's like I get on Twitter and I cringe though when I see it. Like
you see
I'll
it.
joke around and be like, "Huh, mood,"
Well, yeah.
but like then it's like satirical. Like I'm just joking, but there are those people that are genuine when they
That's
say
when-
it.
Back
It's
when
not
people
like
used to
ironic.
say, like hashtag something, I would be like, "Oh, like hashtag."
Yeah, like
Like,
you're
skills
like
and
being
bop or
ironic
something.
most of the time with like
Yeah.
when you say this stuff, but then there are the people that are like, huh, "Bro, this is a mood," and like you're like, "Oh my god, I just want to like rip my eyeballs out of my skull."
It's like 8th grade me that was like, "This is rockin',
Did you really say that?
rock out, dude."
Did you talk like
Yeah,
that?
dude, I had blonde highlights. You kidding me?
I did too. I can't talk. I had blonde highlights. Nana, Dixie has the photos of it that I have sworn her. Like she has told me she will
got
not
them.
show them, but she's
got
going to show them.
So Sheepsquatch.
Back to Sheepsquatch, the white thing. I don't know. The only thing that I found in the tales I read about it, there was one that I thought seemed mostly credible, and it was a guy. Coincidentally enough, he was in outside of Point Pleasant doing research on the Mothman, and was in the TNT area where the Mothman was originally spotted, and said that as he was walking along a creek, he saw it come out, and he kind of was able to hide and observed it for a few minutes, and then he hightailed it out of there. That one was like, okay, wow, you know that. I guess the guy had been in the military and all this stuff, and he had experience with like trying to track stuff. I enjoyed that one. There was one I'm sure you read it. There was a group of people in Boone County,
Yes.
and they had like a big campfire going, like a bonfire, and they were all hanging out. And long story short, they heard rustling in the bushes. They didn't think it was an animal that would actually make itself known. And then the Sheepsquatch comes out of nowhere and basically chases them away from their campsite. But this is where they lose me. Mysteriously, they're across a river now, and it is looking for a way to cross the river. And then it tries to cross the river, and it hears a high-pitched shriek from like a mile away. And then it like runs away in fear. And it said that they didn't want to release the campers' names because they would be embarrassed, that they were scared. Dude, if I see a Sheepsquatch coming out of the woods...
Hello, my name is Austin O'Connor.
I'm on the front page.
Sheepsquatch.
I'm on the front... What, are they scared the Sheepsquatch is going to be like, dude, they ratted on me?
Let me tell you, the Charleston Pulse, I'm reading that right now, these people.
I know where you live. Yeah. I know where you live.
I'll see you at the next bonfire, peasants.
Dude, I'm front page of the newspaper like, this is what I saw. Like, I am telling all. Yeah. I don't care... What sane person isn't going to run away in fear from that?
Yes.
Like, what is there to be embarrassed about? So that's why I'm saying I think that story is completely fabricated.
See, here's the thing, and this is the other thing that I've run into, is that the people that, and there's been multiple accounts, starting in 1994. So it's like one of the fairly newest cryptids.
Everything else was like 40s, 50s, 60s.
Yeah, there's been a bunch in the 90s, and then the most recent one was in 2015 in I think Forks Run, Virginia. That there were some campers, which is on the border of West Virginia. It's like on one of the border counties that were camping and saw it.
Yeah,
drinking out of a creek, I think. But
did they say it smelled like sulfur as well?
That's the thing. Is there's a lot of reports, and everybody reports that it smells like sulfur. And so there's theories that, because the first person technically to see it was this dude on the shrooms. But there's people that saw it in the TNT area, but then there's people that came in that said that they had seen it before the dude on the shrooms saw it. As we, dude, like, let me set up the timeline.
Yeah.
Number one, dude on the shrooms. He's like the genesis. So there's people that said that they had saw it in the TNT area before, because since its fur smelled like sulfur, a lot of people think that it was born of the toxicity that is that TNT area.
And it's drinking the water that has sulfur in it.
Right. It's like
it's somehow
mutating
mutated.
itself.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's the one thing that I always come back to with these things, and the fact that it has been seen most prevalently like in the last 20 years. And I've said this before, I have my cell phone with my camera on me at all times.
Yeah.
Why is there no picture?
That's what I always wondered.
Like it is a modern
I think they all agreed once they saw it. Like, they saw Steve Jobs get the iPhone, and all the cryptids got together. They had their international summit, and they're like, "Listen, guys, you've been fooling this whole time. You guys need to chill."
I say this, and then I'll go camping and I'll see it, and like the last thing I'm going to think of is to take my phone out and take a picture of it. So I'll give them that. But it's like, man, I don't know. You would just expect there to be. Whatever. I don't know. It's still spooky though. It's like, obviously it's one of those things that I laugh at right now, but I'll be out in the woods hiking and I'm going to be like paranoid.
Well, there's a few, like I was reading up because I was like, okay, so like Mothman, they talk about sandhill crane. Like, and it's like, okay, that could have been that. It could have been like a weird migratory pattern. I was looking at mammals in West Virginia. And there's two options that I kind of came up with. One is there's a black bear population, and generally it's like albinism runs through any animal, and like if in most societies, like not societies, but in most animals don't necessarily include the animals that are albino. Like they'll generally, like scientifically, go away from them, or like a pack like animals will kind of shun them just because of their appearance and such, which was a problem like even for humans like way back in like 1800s and stuff, and didn't really get better until like civil rights movement or until science kind of was like, hey, wait a second, everybody's a human. So what I would think is that it would probably be maybe an albino bear.
Could be.
But that doesn't explain the horn situation.
The horns and the eyes. There have been reports of like 4 eyes. And
Right. And so I was looking at ways, I was doing some research as well into ways to catch a Sasquatch, because it's a type of Sasquatch.
There's a squatch in these woods.
Yeah, and there's very obvious ways to catch a Sasquatch. Yeah, there are
very obvious.
Yeah,
ways.
I've been doing the research, man.
You need to go out and catch one.
Listen,
we could be rich, dude.
We're like 30%. We're like 30% of cryptozoology. Let me say that right.
I don't want that email again.
I don't want that email again. A cryptozoology podcast. So I've been crunching the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So Sasquatch, when you're hunting it, first of all, you need food. What does the Sasquatch eat? Looked it up. Anything. Sasquatch.
Anything at all. It makes it really simple.
Folktale, best thing to bring the Sasquatch when you're hunting it is at night, take a bite out of a donut, leave it out in the open.
Yeah.
Leave it out there. Sasquatch will eat it, like Santa. Like you leave the cookies out for Santa. Sasquatch will eat it. So donuts, great way to get Sasquatch. So Sasquatch will get anything. But then Sasquatch generally are around a lot of mammal populations as well, including deer. Including raccoons, including like any kind of like anywhere like there's an abundance of like resources in a forest, like a creek or something, like an ecosystem is thriving, like where you would have non-hunting areas particularly.
Yeah.
That's where you would be most likely to find a Sasquatch. So they got me thinking about like, well, there's a ton of white-tailed deer, and there's like big white-tailed deer season and stuff here. And I was like, well, I remember that there used to be elks here. And so my theory is that maybe these people saw an elk, because elk are much larger than
very, very big
than your typical deer. And if you didn't know what you're looking at, you would be like, what? Yeah. What is happening right now?
Right.
And the only thing about it was elk were extinct in like the 1700s because they kept on like hunting them. Yeah. I think 1700s to 1800s, around then, that they kept on bringing them in and showing them and catching them and using their pelts and antlers and such. So my second theory is that there was maybe still one or two alive. And that's what people are seeing. And then it's also interesting because during that, I also learned that they are reintroducing elk into United States wildlife areas.
Especially in West Virginia.
In West Virginia. They just, in 2015, they brought back in an elk population to West Virginia. And so those, like, we're used to it here, but that sighting in 2015 could have been these people that are like never seen an elk before in their life. Yeah. These like campers in West Virginia, be like in Virginia that are like, we don't know what this is.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely fair, and they have lighter coats, so
right. So those are my two scientific explanations, but they don't connect to what has been described. Like
the curled horns is what
the curled horns.
That's
the
weird.
Smell of sulfur. Like, have you ever smelled an elk? I haven't either. But they don't smell like sulfur.
They're all over the Grand Canyon. When I was there, I didn't smell sulfur at all, so I don't think that they. Yeah.
The other interesting thing is there's this delightful piece of programming on television called Mountain Monsters. Are you familiar with that?
Somewhat.
So they had come to Boone County, West Virginia, and they did a whole episode on Sheepsquatch.
I need to like watch this episode.
I will now describe to you what exactly happened with this episode.
Okay.
It is worth looking up. You can find it on YouTube. You can find each individual clip on YouTube.
Yes.
So they had this guy who was a farmer and or a lumberjack or something that had video evidence of the Sheepsquatch, and he showed it, and it was like what you would expect video evidence of the Sheepsquatch to look like. Looks weird. Can't tell what it is at a distance, but it's moving and it's a little big. It could have been a guy in a gorilla suit, like walking behind a log.
That's.
Like,
I want to look this up while you're. I want to see.
Well, just wait. Just wait. You can do that in a bit. The thing is, these trappers are like, okay, we're going to go out there. It's like a team of 7 of them and like a dune buggy. And like, they're like, oh, we got our trappers and we got our trackers and we're going to go out there and get it. Yeah. And so they're walking through, everything like Dudes and Bros, which is what I call the ghost shows. It's like super dramatic.
Yeah. What was that?
Yeah, that's
Bro.
what they're like. Do you hear it? And they'll like hear a sound in the distance. Like, there it is. That's the sound of it.
Definitely wasn't a bird. Like nothing simple like that.
So their main trapper, this dude is like the oldest guy in the show probably, thinks he sees it, looks up in a tree, sees the Sheepsquatch. And what does the Sheepsquatch do next? What do you think? What would you think the Sheepsquatch would do next? In this recorded TV show.
Does it make a noise?
No. You got one more guess.
Does it jump on him?
No. The Sheepsquatch then proceeds to pee on his face.
What?
And so,
how did you expect me to guess that?
You
like,
see this guy
like the most
gets sprayed with something. He's rolling.
What
in
a
the
power
floor.
move by the Sheepsquatch,
He was
though.
like rolling in the brush, and his eye. He's like, it burns, and it's like apparently burning his whole face. And he's like, because he's like, it's like sulfur, and that's the thing.
But like, honestly,
it's like sulfur, and that incapacitates him for the rest of the trip. So you can go on YouTube and look, Sheepsquatch peed on me.
dude, but like, think about it. That's just such a power move by the Sheepsquatch. He's like, I know you guys are looking for me.
I'm gonna hide right up here,
and
in
he's
this
just like,
tree.
He's like, listen, man, you're gonna find me, but like, I'm gonna make this interesting.
Yes,
and boom.
And so they chase the Sheepsquatch, and they get this guy back in the dune buggy, and they're chasing him all through, and they're trying to catch him, and they're trying to do all this stuff. And then the Sheepsquatch gets away, but they almost had him. They were on his tail. They were
Not
on his tail.
Not only did he piss on the guy, he got away.
He got away. Yeah.
Boss moves only by the Sheepsquatch.
And they to recount it, they even talk about it that they were in fear for their lives.
Don't worry about it. He's just gonna piss on you. That's all he's gonna do.
They were in fear for their mortality.
Oh yeah.
At that point,
apparently the Sheepsquatch has other things that he wants to do other than eat people. He just wants to pee on people.
He just wants to pee on people.
Hey man.
So
it's the R. Kelly of the cryptid world.
I found that, and then I sent you a link today of
the video.
These people. I'm not sure where they're from. I think they're from North Carolina. I don't think they're from.
I think they are because I saw like the Wake Forest shirt
where they did a very serious.
I mean, it was
fan film. They were very serious about it.
I mean, the cinematography was phenomenal as well.
Where they were going after the Sheepsquatch, and they all introduced themselves.
And
they were all
part.
like 17, 18 maybe, and they were like, "My name is Daryl. I've been a trapper for 25 years." And then they cocked the gun and shoot him. And there's this one guy at the end that's like, "My name is Hank Barger. And I'm a straight up G." And he said, "I'm a bona fide stud."
Bona fide stud. Bona fide's a great word.
"And I've been hunting these monsters my whole life, and I'm gonna get me a Bigfoot.
I'm gonna get me a Bigfoot." And then he says something. He said, "This is."
Oh yeah, he has his gun out, and he says, "You see this? This is Bertha." And he cocks the gun and shoots it.
Yeah, they were definitely bored, man.
Well, they went on a whole thing where they chased the Sheepsquatch, and then it was just like their friend in a suit. Like, it was fictional. It was meant to be fictional, but also meant to be very serious. But it made for some of the most hilarious things. Of like, I imagine like people in my high school making this video.
I was
all getting out there with their guns and their pickup trucks.
I was gonna say that was like real Bluefield hours right there.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. It's like the promos that they'd shoot for the Rough and Rowdy Brawl.
Oh boy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely it reminded me of those for sure.
So what do you think? What do you think is going to happen with the Sheepsquatch in Fallout 76?
I hope they don't have him like pee on players or something. I don't know. Like,
it's a special attack.
You get peed on by the Sheepsquatch and you're like blinded for like 30 seconds or something. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I hope they make it creepy though. Like, I hope they make it scarier than, because like Mothman rolling up on you. It's cool. Flatwood's monster, but like I wish they would make it like more terrifying when you come across a Sheepsquatch.
I think it depends on the area, because like in the forest, nothing is really all that terrifying. Like, unless you're afraid.
But if you're in the mire,
everything is way more terrifying.
Yeah, it's just so dark and like creepy and.
The cranberry bog is just stressful.
Yes.
It's like you got your scorched and your super mutants and your scorched beasts, and they're all coming after you.
Yeah, it's just like a constant like flurry of like sonic waves, scorched.
The mire is more creepy.
The mire is just like almost too quiet sometimes. You're just like, what is going on?
What is happening?
Yeah, so that would be where I would like to see at least one cryptid in the mire.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the quest starts in Lewisburg, so I think it's going to be centered around Charleston and Ash Heap and some areas down in
Ash Heap obviously is creepy too.
in what is southern West Virginia.
Any of the darker like themed, like just the darker settings, definitely creeper, lower visibility and yeah. So
one thing I'm interested in, and it was a glitch in one of these people, and his name's his Instagram name. He had some sort, I think it's like Appalachian Terrence or something like that. I like his it's one of the few good like original Fallout Instagrams where he's just posting screenshots and like cool stuff he's doing in the game. He ran into an event where one of his workshops had been overrun, but it had changed the name. Like sometimes it'd be like, your workshop has been overrun by a bunch of mole rats or by a bunch of scorched. And this one said, your workshop has been overrun by a bunch of sheepsquatch. He was like, what? And he went there and there was no, like, it was just scorched. But it was like, if there's like a horde of sheepsquatch.
Terrifying.
Woo!
That's like
goodness.
Just like you might as well just count your loss there.
At that point,
I'm not going.
I ain't doing it.
Not gonna do it.
Goodness. So I'm excited for what they do.
Yeah, I think
that quest comes out April 9th, and it's called Sheer Terror, which I find hilarious. Because it's like, oh, shearing the sheep.
Well, it's definitely going to be cool, and I'm glad they're adding more cryptids. And I'm sure if this goes well, they'll continue to.
I think you'll be seeing more.
Yeah, I think that's cool that they'll continue to add.
I have my inside source tell me that we'll be seeing a lot more. I've been talking with Todd Howard.
That's casual.
Yeah,
I was going to ask if
we ICQ each other.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you guys were friends.
We get on
the most like obscure instant messaging, like old school.
Yeah, he has my MySpace profile. He's in my top 8.
Are you sure that's still there? I heard MySpace lost like everything.
No, they didn't. No,
Just
they didn't lose me and Todd Howard. That's for sure.
They knew it was important.
Yeah, we just had talk. Then an interesting. Speaking of which, I forgot to mention this in the news. They had a panel where they were talking about Fallout 76.
I saw that.
And one of the things they're talking about that they are like doing new dungeons in the month of April and May. That there's going to be some dungeons that they're adding as well as raids.
Yeah.
In the game that are instanced. But then they were talking about some of the development, some of the like the troubles that they had, some of the stuff they're trying to overcome, some of the ideas that they had while they were making stuff. And one of the things was Todd Howard, how he plays Fallout 76 is he gets this big burly dude, dresses him up in the Nuka Girl rocket suit, and waits outside of Vault 76 for new players and drops them helpful items.
That's pretty cool, though.
So if you ever see anybody doing that, before, if you had seen somebody doing that, that would most likely be Todd Howard. Now everyone's going to be like, whoa, because he's like, he's one of the most memed video game creators.
There will now be,
time.
He'll probably have to switch his style to something else.
Yes.
It'd be cool to come across.
Yes. Let me tell you something. If Todd Howard and Hideo Kojima can get together, they can be like the most meme-ified game directors, creative directors, and make something, man. That would be like
I would pay to see it.
I would pay, yeah. We would call it Metal Scroll Solid. Metal Scroll Solid.
Might work on that a little bit.
Yeah. I'll talk to my marketing people,
Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
ICQ them. Let me get back on AIM.
It's a working title.
Yeah, it's a working title.
Yeah.
I dig it. I dig it. So we don't really have any fan mail.
They don't care about us anymore.
Fan mail this week, but we always enjoy getting emails. We always enjoy hearing from you all. Feel free to message us on Twitter, talk to us on Instagram. Well, it's not really us. It's just me.
It's a mood.
It's a mood that we're having.
Yes.
So, Austin, you got anything else for our lovely listeners here today? Let me hear some parting wisdom.
Parting wisdom.
Yes.
I'm not a very wise person, so I don't know how I don't really have any wise words for our listeners. I'm just really vibing and having a bunch of moods, and I just think that that's the way to be. So if you're out there and you're having trouble with life, just remember mood AF and just vibe and good GVO, good vibes only, and block out the negativity in your life. And yeah, man, just good vibes only. And that's what I got, man.
Sheepsquatch is a part of the good vibes train. I feel that already. He's a part of that.
I disagree.
He's part of the good vibes train. That's
no, I think that I don't know, man. I got a bad feeling about him.
The spirit of Sheepsquatch lives in all of us.
It's like, did you ever watched Entourage?
No. Well, yes.
I've been watching Entourage.
It's been years.
I was watching.
I couldn't recall any information
Well,
other than
this is what the Sheepsquatch makes me think of. There was an episode where the guys are all doing really well, and Vince is about to star in Aquaman, and then their old friend Dom shows up out of nowhere. And Dom is just this like rough and tough dude from New York, and you just get a bad feeling about Dom. And Dom's like telling you that he's a good guy, and he's trying to get his life together.
Yeah.
But you just got this feeling about Dom.
This feeling about him.
And then it proves to be that he's just a scumbag. He's not a good guy. And
so that's the way you feel about Sheepsquatch.
I feel like Sheepsquatch is trying to he's trying to get his in. Like
so you're part of
Mothman's
the anti-Sheepsquatch coalition.
Like Mothman's been there, Flatwoods Monster's been there, like the Snally guys, like all of these guys have been doing well for themselves.
You think he's coming in? He's trying to steal some territory?
Yeah, exactly. They've been doing well for themselves.
Is he Mr. Steal Yo Girl?
No, listen. He is, for anybody out there that's watched Entourage, he is Dom. He's trying to come in, and these guys are doing well, and he's trying to take over. And I don't like it. That's what's going on right now.
He's like, what's his face? Jason Statham in Fast and the Furious 8, where it's like he gets invited to the family barbecue now.
Yeah. Oh, like he's here now? Okay. We're just doing this?
We're just doing this?
But that's the Sheepsquatch. I don't know. He might prove me wrong. We'll see.
Well, I'm excited to see some of the Sheepsquatch. I'm vibing on him hard. I'm having good. I'm in a good mood.
How many times can we do that?
We're vibing and mooding.
Mood
here.
AF, bro.
That's what I'm gonna call this episode. I'm not gonna call this episode anything about moods or vibes. But as far as things that we have to say, that's it for today. Don't forget to email us your questions at vaultboyswv@gmail.com. Check us out on social media at vaultboyspod. Vaultboys WV podcast, I think, is on Instagram.
Yeah.
On Facebook, we're vaultboyswv, Fallout 76 podcast. And tell your friends. The best way to support the show is a rate and review on iTunes, which we're always grateful for.
Yes.
So seriously, take a minute. If you listen to the show
right now, hit pause. Go do it.
Listen to my Westerny accent or whatever's left of it. Give us a little rate and review. 5 stars, please. If you are inclined to, we would really appreciate 5 stars.
But that's up to you.
It's
how your mood is. Whatever your mood is.
We would really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Just remember, though, from Hollow to Highway, we've got you covered. 6 ways simple.